Hey guys, it's Tom Hicks here, and today I'm going to be doing my top 7 favorite Walking Dead episodes. It was going to be a top 5, but there's 2 episodes I really like, and I didn't want to do a top 10 because this video is already going to be about 20 minutes long, and I didn't want to be spending too much time thinking about my favorite episodes because a lot of them are kind of easy to think about, others are pretty hard. Also, I I can't remember what I was going to say. I'm recording this live, by the way, so yeah, I don't really yeah, I'm just gonna get to it. I can't remember the other thing I was gonna say. I feel like such a fool now. Oh yeah, I will not be including any episodes from season 10 only because season 10 hasn't finished yet, so I want to give it a fair shot. And while season 10 has been amazing, there are a lot of episodes which I far prefer than some of the episodes we've gotten in season 10. Nothing against season 10. I think it's a good season so far. We are 10 episodes into it as of today. A new episode comes out today. 10/10 or 10/0/10 or 10. Yeah, season 10, episode 10 is out today. Which I'm really looking forward to. Okay. Anyway, without further ado, this is going to be a lot of forgetting what I say because I'm not recording this live. I just do not have the time to record about 20 minutes of gameplay and record over it and then commentate over it and then stress about the commentary not being enough or being too much. I don't know. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. So, number 7 on this list is going to be the pilot episode, season 1, episode 1, Days Gone By. I love this episode. I think it's a very iconic episode. I think it's truly one of the most iconic episodes I've ever watched on television. I think the way the episode was written and the way it was directed, it was truly a fantastic opening to this series, and I think I couldn't have asked for a better pilot episode to my favourite show of all time. Yeah, there's not really much I can say because even though it's an amazing episode, it's I don't know, it's like there are episodes. It's the introduction to the series, so it's gonna be amazing, of course. But of course, there's gonna be much better episodes as it progresses. Number 6 is going to be season 2, episode 13, Days Gone By. Season 2 was a very difficult season for me to pick my favorite episodes because I loved season 2. It's one of my favorite seasons of the show. I thought I had so much fun watching the development between Rick and Shane's relationship, the development of Shane as a character, the development of Rick I keep saying development. The progression of Rick becoming more psychotic and season 2 is the season where Rick finally kills a living human and he breaks his we don't kill the dead thing. And he breaks that lifestyle, he breaks that moral code, and I really love season 2 for it. The season 2 finale is my chosen episode because of how intense it is. It is the introduction of Michonne. She's only in it for an episode, but that's her first appearance. We see the end of the farm. We see the farm get overrun by zombies. It truly feels like that the walkers are still a threat, and it is beautifully written. I loved it. We got the aftermath of Rick and Shane's fight in the field where Rick fatally murdered Shane. We get the aftermath of that, and I think that was beautifully written because it shows that after the gunshot, Shane basically called thousands of zombies which overran the farm, and it changed everything. And it was such an amazing episode. Also, this is gonna be a really really weird thing, but that episode has my favorite transition into the opening credits of the show. It's just Rick and Carl walking across the field, walking back to the house, and the music's getting that intense, and the walkers are following, and the music is that intense. It's increasing in volume. I don't do GCSE music, so I don't really know the terminology for what I'm trying to say, but the music keeps increasing. It reaches this big crescendo, and bam, we get the Walking Dead iconic opening credits. It was amazing. I had chills the first time I watched it. Anyway, that's gonna be number 6. I had a lot to say on that one. Yeah. Number 5 is going to be season 7, episode 1. I adored this episode. Season 7 was by all means not the best season. In fact, I really did like season 7, but I'm actually willing to admit it was probably the worst season in my opinion. I loved this episode. I thought some of the other episodes of season 7 were good. But for me, this was the ideal episode of season 7. It was the introduction of Negan as a character. It was the exit of two of the greatest characters in the show. One of my favorite characters, Glenn. Glenn, everyone loved Glenn. Everyone did. So that's a horrible scene where Negan bashed Glenn's head in. Of course, we wanted Negan dead for that. And it's pretty funny now because now everyone loves Negan, including myself, and we want him to kill Alpha. I personally want him to kill Alpha the same way. But it's just it really was the starting point for an amazing character. That for me was Negan's episode. That episode where Negan broke Rick, he took Daryl, he murdered one of the characters who would have been perfect for All Out War, being Abraham. He would have been perfect for All Out War. All Out War would have ended a lot sooner if Abraham was still around. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I think it was truly a fantastic. It was a fantastic episode. 701. I think the day will come when you won't be. That's the name of the episode. The day will come when you won't be. That was a brilliant episode. I loved it. It was really good. So the next episode, number. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4. Sorry, I lost my numbers then. So number 4 is going to be season 7, episode 8. How It's Gotta Be, I think. Is that what it's called? I can't remember the name. How It's Gotta Be. This is the mid-season finale of season 8, and I loved this episode. It was by far one of the most heartbreaking episodes I've watched. Not the most heartbreaking, because I'll get onto that in a bit. But this episode was amazing. My only complaint was it had very little Rick in it, although when Rick did finally start to do stuff, he really did stuff. It was the first fist fight between Rick and Negan, and I loved it. I absolutely adored the fight scene. I think it was a true demonstration of Negan's strength. His like, it showed how much of a badass Negan is, to the point where he beat Rick fair and square. Although, to be fair, Rick did. There's actually funny stories. Andrew Lincoln broke Jeffrey Dean Morgan's nose behind the scenes, which I think is pretty funny. But but Rick did well in the fight. He made the terrible mistake of not hitting Negan with the you know, the end of a baseball bat where you're supposed to hit people with. That's what it's called. You know, he didn't hit Negan with the proper end of Lucille, which caused Negan to survive, and yeah. But the thing that really took this episode by surprise was the reveal of Carl's bite. Now, the reason why Carl's death episode isn't on this list, that was a fantastic episode as well, and probably would be on the list if I was doing a top 10 and not a top 7. The reason why I choose this over that one is because the sheer shock of Carl's bite was truly the most heartbreaking, or truly one of the most shaken I'd ever felt watching the show. When that music, a lot of this goes back to the music. Bear McCreary is a genius when it comes to soundtracks and OSTs. I think the music just made it all the more painful to watch. The acting was superb. Everything about it was brilliant. I think, personally, I'd have liked it if the fight went on for a bit longer, although I really did like it. I liked the fight. Nice rule of 3 with the punches. Rick, then Negan, then back to Rick, and then I loved it. Negan beating up Rick for a bit with Lucille. And then Rick's like, nah, I'm done. And then he just punches Rick in the face, punches Negan in the face, and then I had goosebumps when he finally did that. that was overdue. That fight was well overdue. They should have had they should have gone hand to hand in the season 7 finale, in my opinion. But yeah, that's gonna be it for 808. Number 3 is going to be 816, the season 8 finale. There's a lot of controversy behind this list because season 7 and 8 are the most unpopular seasons of the show. I love these seasons. I think season 8 for me was one of my favourite seasons. It was the last full season with Rick Grimes, which is something to consider. Season 8, episode 16, Wrath. That episode for me was truly one of the most emotional episodes I'd watched until number 1. Which I'll get to in a bit. The episode was the end of All Out War, where Rick finally defeated Negan. He slit his throat open after a heartbreaking final battle and final fight scene. And you know, I'm trying to think of, we can have a future. I know I will. You know, I can't really quote it right now, but like, the acting was superb. The writing I thought was really good. I was again hoping Rick fight scene, you know, because Rick he could have beat up Negan a lot more. I don't think he would have won the fight, but I think he could have done a lot more than he did. Bearing in mind Negan was injured, so he had the upper hand. But personally, it doesn't bother me because the acting made up for it. It was so good, and I think if we ever like the feuds we've had in the show, Rick and Negan is my favorite. Rick and Shane was the most gritty and like pure soap opera style. Rick and Negan was just intense because they both made a lot of mistakes in that feud, and they both tried to live from it, and now Negan's redeemed himself, and Rick, he's trying to work for a better future for everyone, or at least he did. So that was number 3, 816. Number 2, number 2 is going to be season 5, episode 1, No Sanctuary. This is my favorite season premiere. I love this episode. I've rewatched this episode twice. I love it. It really is. My 2 favorite moments from this episode are, they're both, you know, Carol blowing up Terminus was amazing. That was definitely my 3rd favorite moment. But for me, my 2 favorite moments are when two of the cannibals are arguing, and then the guy says, Rick comes out of nowhere and stabs one in the throat. I got chills when that happened, and the music just really amplified the scene. It was literally the scariest game of peekaboo I've ever watched, and I've never played peekaboo since. It was so funny, and kind of sadistic me saying that, I know. It was amazing. And then my favourite moment is when Rick and Daryl are kneeling down beside the car. Rick looks through the mirror to see all the cannibals go by, killing the walkers. And then Rick sneaks up on the last one, stabs him in the throat, takes the gun, and he just wastes all the cannibals. That was so badass to watch. It really was the most amazing thing. And also, I was really rooting for Tyree. I felt physically sick watching Martin, or Martinez, I think it's Martin, watching Martin almost killed baby Judith. That was sickening to me. I was repulsed by that scene. So to see Tyrese go full Rick mode and beat Martin senseless, that was amazing. I was so proud of Tyrese, and I felt even more heartbroken when he died, because I've always loved Tyrese. Personally, I think him starting on Rick was, you know, him getting beat up by Rick in season 4 was justified, because he lashed out and he did the wrong thing, and he got hit by, he hit Rick when Rick was trying to calm him down. So Rick beating him up was kind of justified, but you know, from that being a favourite character of mine. In fact, he was my favourite character at one point, but then I started to watch more, and Rick was truly became my favorite. And I still love Tyrese. He's one of my top 10 favorites. But yeah, that fight scene where Tyrese battered Martin, saved Judith, and then of course the reunion between Rick, Carl, and Judith. Those two scenes for me were truly some of the most heartwarming moments. Just poetic justice being served, and an amazing reunion between a father, son, and their daughter, the baby girl. But yeah, that goes for number 2, No Sanctuary, Season 5, Episode 1. Now it goes to number 1, which is my all-time favourite episode of the show. No episode has come anywhere close to this since this episode, although some have really tried. Without a doubt, the most amazing episode of the show is my favourite episode of the show, Season 9, Episode 5, What Comes After. I love this episode. I absolutely adore. This is Rick Grimes' final episode on the show, and I could not have asked for a better send-off for this character. I nearly cried watching it. In fact, I think I did cry when I rewatched it. And when we got to I found him, that was beautiful. The episode was perfectly written. It was absolutely astonishing the way it was written. We saw the return of Shane, we saw the return of Herschel, which was actually very bittersweet because Scott Wilson, who played Herschel, he passed away not long before that episode aired, and seeing him again, the Walking Dead fan base was still mourning him, so to see him in that episode was truly something special. Yeah, we saw the Sasha. I will point out, and I have read the comments about the director's comments and things like that about this. I was kind of hoping we'd see the return of Laurie or Carl. Just I think it should have been either Laurie. I think it should have been Laurie in that scene with Sasha, because even though I get what they meant by Rick couldn't imagine Laurie and Carl, he couldn't imagine his old family, he could only imagine his new one. I think it would have been bittersweet for Laurie to be like, it's okay Rick, you need to go back to your family, or our family, and that would have been amazing. But it's my favourite episode because it's not perfect, but it damn well is near it. My favourite scene of the episode is without a doubt Rick Grimes' final stand, the bridge scene where he blows up the bridge, and also something very poetic about the episode. It ends the exact same way it began, with Space Junk by Wang Chung playing, ends the same way the series began, might I add, with the song that played at the end of the pilot is the same song that plays at the end of Rick Grimes' final scene. Yeah, it was amazing. It truly was. It truly will always be my favourite episode, and the fact that it's the starting point of a new story with the Rick Grimes movies and the CRM and the Whisperers, it made the world bigger when we thought it was going to get a whole lot smaller with Rick Grimes leaving. Andrew Lincoln will always be one of my favourite actors. He really has inspired me to become an actor, and the way he sold this episode was without a doubt some of the most perfect performances. Was without a doubt the most perfect performance I have ever watched. I loved it. It truly was magnificent. It was a beautiful send-off to the best character, in my opinion, Rick Grimes. I don't think any episode can top it. If it can, the only episode that I think will top it, if they do it right, is the series finale with hopefully Rick coming back to reunite with his family. Michonne, Daryl, and Carol, and Judith, and RJ, and you know Maggie, and well, yeah, that's it. And Morgan, that's another one. Hopefully Morgan comes back. I really do hope Morgan comes back. But yeah, season 9, episode 5 was truly my favorite episode in this show. I could not have asked for a better send-off. I mean, there were some things I wish we got instead of, some things we got which I wish we got something different for, like like Laurie instead of Sasha, but at the same time I'm cool because no matter what, it was a beautiful episode. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. A lot of my opinions will be very controversial because, like I said, season 7 was a very controversial season. Season 8 was even more controversial, and I will admit, both those seasons had their flaws. Both seasons are not perfect. I think, I do disagree. Even though I loved season 808 and 816, which was one of them was Carl's last second to last episode, the other was Carl's last significant part of the show. I still don't think Carl should have died personally, and I can live with it. I can live with the fact that Carl died. You know, I'm not the kind of person who will stop watching just because they're one of the main characters. If it's my favorite character, then I may consider stop watching. But if it's one of the main characters, which, as much as you love him, you can live without him, I won't stop watching because of that, personally. Yeah, that's just me. They're not perfect seasons, but they are not as terrible as I think others make them out to be honest. But yeah. I'm also thinking of doing this for Riverdale as well. I love Riverdale. Like, one of my best friends got me into the show, and I love it. I wouldn't include season 4, even though season 4 is my... If season 4 keeps going the way it is, it'll be my favourite season. I just wouldn't include episodes of season 4, because I have access to every single episode of The Walking Dead up to season 9, and for Riverdale I have every episode up to season 3. Which I may do, I don't think I will, but I might do it, you know. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you guys later, and